Alright, let's go. Welcome to another Legion Daily cast here. We'll be spectating Tjuvis and Julian against Borimasson and Aviator. So it will be interesting to see. I mean, I think SSB is casting this one as well, but we'll see what will happen here. The game's about to start here. Yes, SSB is casting it as well. Wait, what does it say? Wave 7. Yeah, the game has just started here. The wave 1 has just begun. We'll see some artifacts going on. Uh, But let's get the infographics for you guys, and here we go. We have Berserker start on Tjuvis, going for a Growl start on Julian, staying for worker, possibly for an early Holy Avenger. Borimasson has started Zeus, and Aviator has Berserker as well. So two Berserkers, one Growl, and Zeus. Uh, so looking at the roles a bit more specifically, we do see that possibly the Berserker will be paired with the Chain Fist here from Tjuvis on wave 3. He did not receive here on wave 1, but he must expect that it will not be a lizard, knowing the player he's up against, loving his income, possibly not skipping income to get the Berserker on wave 2. So Tjuvis not adding anything, is just reading what the opponent is doing. He would leak to a lizard, yes, but Aviator would miss some gold. Um, But yeah, we do see here the snail here will extend the wave a little bit. Those who are 5 workers already do have an advantage here. And we do see another 20 cent on the Aviator. He does not have something like a gargoyle to allow him to hold wave 3 at 6 workers, which is a bit unfortunate. So he's kind of forced to stay 5 worker because of that. So good play here from Julian to try and avoid that. He did have a looter here to try and hold the snail. And do you think that a single looter is enough? Or is it? Yeah, yeah, okay. So the single looter is enough for the girl to hold wave 2 to a snail. And right now, you will be missing a little bit, but selling. Uh, he's gonna sell it. Does he need to sell? No, he doesn't need to sell the looter. So you will be able to get this Holy Avenger out. Um, Let me just enter SSP. Uh, Alright, so we do have this. Um, Oh my god, what a well, okay, that okay, that's not supposed to happen. Sorry about that. But okay, so we do have the 60 cent here onto the Oathbreaker and Berserker. Supposedly it will be enough. It's all depending on the RNG on the split here with the Oathbreaker, and is enough here. So the damage from the Oathbreaker is enough to join back and then kill the lizard afterwards. Borimasson with the Zeus a bit harder to hold. And oh wait, Aviator tried to go for 6 worker here, adding those polywogs in, only and leaking to a snail. So first king damage coming up from Tjuvis and Julian onto Aviator and Borimasson. Okay. Uh, Okay, so we do have the resends coming in. Tjuvis pushing at 7 workers with his Berserker start. He only needs that little bone warrior to be holding a resend from Aviator. Um, the idea is to release some of the pressure onto that in case of double snail. Let's see if Aviator does that. But I do think that double snail is just not enough. Um, and that's 8 workers from Tjuvis. That's very, very aggressive, but that's going to be a crusher here on next wave. And pushing 8 workers is just so confident for him. But he needs to not push now. He needs to focus on holding wave 5, the next cent. The 20 cents shouldn't be enough for him to hold, to push an additional worker, sorry. We do have the Old Avenger here paired with the Serpent. That could be useful later on. And we do have the Zeus struggling a little bit, but should be enough to clear most of the wave except the Lizard. It will be a 1 chicken league plus a lizard, so still a pro league. 7 workers, Aviator 8 workers due to that resend here. And yeah, the Berserker is down, but he still has Seraphim, so he will be able to hold. So 8 workers on both Aviator and Tjuvis. And it is probably the race between the two of them who can have the most pressure on the other. And they are going for resends. When you're a high worker, you need to send more often than not. You cannot allow yourself to save that long. And that's the balance, right? Like you want to push aggressively, but you don't want to feed your opponent too much. So you need to ensure that your build is a bit stronger in scaling. So Aviator was a little bit earlier on 6 workers, but Tjuvis was earlier on 8 workers compared to Aviator. So it balances out. But in total, we do have a somewhat of a lead here overall for Tjuvis by being higher workers for a longer amount of time. With that 80 cent, he does have also a Fire Archer and also a second Oathbreaker, only income here. They both Oathbreaker are tanking. This is not tanking, so this will be surviving quite a long time and will be enough to hold here. He can push to 10 workers or even more. The Zeus player struggling a little bit due to the pressure, Julian leaking as well, Aviator leaking as well, but we do have a hold from Tjuvis. That is the most important part here. While Aviator is trying to keep up, the build from Tjuvis is just a little bit more reliable on the weak wave of the Berserker. And yes, he has magic damage on Aviator, but he's a bit struggling to make it work. But it will still be resulting into king damage on both sides because the imps will be going to the king, but the king will be able to clear them. So I said the 11th worker. Does he go for the 12th worker? That's the question. He could potentially do it after income. Does he decide to do it? No, he decides to be patient with it. The wave was too long. He is still under pressure by Aviator, but he has a 2 worker lead compared to Aviator. And he has the exact same amount of gold. That's because he's been holding while Aviator has been leaking. So more and more you see the gold differential increase between the two of them. And Tjuvis starting to have a commanding lead, shall I say. Decides to go for a second Fire Archer, pretty weak on next wave, so receiving 100 here should allow him to push only 1 worker. He needs to realize that next wave is probably his weakest in a long time, so ensuring himself to be decent could help him quite a lot. The split does help him also very much, letting the Fire Archer tank a little bit of the split and letting the time of the Berserker to do his job. But he's not listening here. He's going 13 workers, pushing 2 workers off of that. But the third one should not come here. We'll stay focused here onto seeing what it will be. Would he push the worker or not? He decides not to, so it is a 2-worker push, 13 workers, while everybody else is on 9 workers. So Tjuvis has been receiving a lot of income from Aviator, and he has been sending a lot onto Borimasson, but Borimasson not being able to push as much as Tjuvis, not utilizing the gold he's been receiving, but that's partly because he's using that gold to sustain himself and starve Julian out a little bit and try to get him big on one of the weak wave of Holy Avenger. So realizing that a strong unit is here, not giving it a free early game. He does not know if lifesteal is here. There's no lifesteal. So he's probably waiting for wave 9 after receiving that 40. So oh no, okay, he's deciding to go here. And I would suggest that he pushes the mole on the split. But he decides not to do so and go for a tank instead. But let's see how they do here. The old Avenger from Aviator is going off here. So this means that it will be a hold on this side. It will be also a hold from the Zeus player. And Borimasson deciding not to push despite him sending here. He could have pushed to 10 workers after receiving that 40 cent. He would have been still very well close to value if he pushed. But he's deciding to prepare for wave 9, so being a bit more careful can benefit him. But he needs that gargoyle here. He needs to protect those Zeus. The Zeus is the only damage source that he has, so he needs to protect it. Okay, he's going to protect it in a different manner, only bringing everything on one side. Maybe one of the Cobras goes on this Zeus, so we're gonna focus on that for the early. There's the 160 going onto Borimasson, but nothing goes onto the Zeus. Everything's on the side of the Wanderers. And it looks like it will be close to a hole. The Canada is always a little bit hard to read. It's a lot of damage right from the start, but the Zeuses are doing a lot of work. Looking at the bigger sin here, it is indeed a very good punishment here from the Holy Avenger of Julian. The mole very hard counter to the deep quarter, preventing up to 2 shots a wave, needed 3 shot, not having the best front line, not giving time to the quarter, means that it still do pretty well. But a nice cover in the middle from Tjuvis, and Tjuvis at 16 workers. So we are starting to see a large worker discrepancy. Sorry. We do have 16 workers on Tjuvis, Aviator sending to Tjuvis, and so Aviator is still the highest worker on the other team, but Tjuvis 17 workers and still counting. But this is gonna stop at 17. He knows he's not the strongest here. He's gonna raise up his value. Does have two Oathbreaker, does have this Teeth to buff those Fire Archer. So it will be it will just come to who when can you break him? Like it's mostly what's the question here from Aviator. And his answer is currently I cannot break him, so I'm gonna scalp with income instead. But now with this, then we're gonna see probably 20 workers on Tjuvis. But he needs to hold for that. 20 workers is possible for him because he has the right unit, but he's going to be close to leaking here. The Trinity Archer is not the best damage either on that wave. It was given a lot of time, but it is just barely not enough here to get 2 more kills. So 58% leak, and then the shutdown going on Aviator and Borimasson. But cover in the middle from Julian. But 19 workers from Tjuvis. I don't think he goes 20 now because of that leak, but he could be in a position to do it. But due to that leak, he gets the Ghost Knight. And the Ghost Knight is massive here because most you want to kill those as fast as possible. Yes, the Zeus are a bit annoying, but you rely on the fact that it doesn't really do much spells now with the reduced attack speed. But the Berserker is probably the best counter you can have against the Ghost Knight. And I just saw, I just saw you want to be safe with the workers, but no, 21 workers from Tjuvis. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, he decided, yeah, I'm not going to be safe, I'm fine here. And so the Trinity Archer will be able to do a lot of damage here on this wave to the boss as well as the Berserker. Tanking last here, giving a lot of ramping up damage. But the Ghost Knight already down here, but not much tank line remaining for the Zeus, and so it will be a leak here on that side. But we do have Aviator holding while building for wave 11 here. Quite interesting. He didn't receive much, we must say. And this will not be covered in the middle. It will reach the king, but the damage is already done here. 21 workers on Tjuvis. He has the option to go alone. I do think it is his best option to do so. And Aviator, haha, that's a fake lizard army coming up from Aviator. So we'll see if it works, if Tjuvis falls for the bait of the lizard. We do have the loan coming from Aviator, we do have the loan from Julian, the loan also from Tjuvis, and Borimasson is saving, so that means to me that he wants to go for loan as well. Oh wait, he goes for Lizard Army? Okay, that's quite ballsy from him, he's on the receiving end of the one who is 21 workers. But we do see only income and king ups onto Borimasson here, as well as on Aviator. Aviator receiving a little bit of a larger stand, but does have the Hades here to protect himself. And he's probably aiming towards the Sovereign for the next one, for the next stand on 13. Sorry about that. We do have the wave starting here. So 320 on Aviator, 2 Drakes, and that's what we need to see what will happen. So the play here from Aviator should be to go for 2 Lizards, and Borimasson saves or goes. Okay, he decides to go here. But Aviator, does he? Okay, Aviator might just not send with Borimasson here. If he wants that to work, he needs to prevent Tjuvis from pushing workers, and the best way to do it is to do exactly what he's doing right now. It's just not go with Borimasson, says, haha, I'm going on you on 13, and then they see the send from Borimasson on 12. Tjuvis say, okay, I'm not pushing here, gonna protect you, gonna try the best I can, try and bait another income send onto Borimasson, and the long wave is just perfect for that bait also. But Aviator is going full as well, going for with Borimasson, and they probably say skip 13. They probably skip 13 both together. But we do have 2 boars here from Tjuvis, and he will be able to push workers. But Aviator as well is pushing a lot of workers. But look at the workers here: 21 workers on Tjuvis, 11 on Julian because he got starved by Borimasson, and 19 and 26 on Borimasson and Aviator. I look at this huge difference in worker on both teams here. And now Sands on everybody. This might change the things. I mean, we do have only income from Aviator and income king ups, and Julian is going to break potentially here. The Ghost Knight went into the split. Okay, he rolls the split here, so very nice play by Julian. Meaning that the Sovereign could do a little bit of a job, but it's still a leak here. Another little one here on Julian. 101. So mission accomplished by Borimasson to give space to Aviator. And Aviator... is this classic? I don't know. But Aviator is at 29 workers. I feel a little bit bad here for him, not being able to push to 30 workers. I do think that 30 workers could be feasible for him, but let's just see how much gold he has. Oh yeah, he's pushing the 30th worker. There you go. Oh no, no, 31, no! 32? Okay, that's okay now. No, not 33. Does he go 34? God damn it. Yes, 34. Yeah, there you go. That's a nice number. There we go. Alright, so we have all things evened out now in terms of workers, but not in terms of gold. In terms of gold on the board, wait, what is happening? Yeah, there's 400 more gold on the east side, west side. Sorry, this is the west side. Then there are workers. Wait, no. There's It's term of gold. In terms of gold, it's Aviator heavy push that makes so that the workers, the value on the board is just not the same here. The difference is exactly what is between Tjuvis and Aviator. So Aviator realizes he needs to make something happen, so he makes a heavy push, and their push will result into possibly a wave 15 cent. Very close hold from Aviator here, but he will be fine. Do I have a cent here from Julian? That's gotta be the Sovereign from Aviator. It does. And it has double APS on that. Honestly, I think the APS is a bit better on that side, so that the Hades gets a buff and not the cat. But yeah, I just think this is misposition here from Aviator. I think there's way more value into having that, even though it's at wave 14. Yeah. Alright, let's go do it. Yes! Yes! Here you go. That's way more value here than on the cat. The cat doesn't need that. And the cents here are not small here on Borimasson and Aviator. But let's see how they do. We do have here Fatalizer, good tank overall, does take care of the pack leader. So only one fiend remaining, but the Fatalizer is down. So it's all about the Zeus, how well they can do. How well can they do? The answer is not well enough. The Sovereign from Aviator was not enough as well. They are both leaking massively, and the game will end here on wave 14. Uh, yeah, the Sovereign just not enough. Not having lifesteal, not having the Grawl here, the Ocean Templar. The push was just too ballsy to end it on 15. The race could have been a bit closer on wave 15 due to the APS Zeus as well as the APS 80s. But with 14 undercut from Tjuvis and Julian was enough here to be able to take the advantage here. So pretty we had a nice strategy from Aviator to fake the Lizard Army and go for the wave 12 full income and then skip 13, and then Tjuvis realizes it wasn't Lizard Army, possibly already knew. But yeah, you always doubt when you see this kind of send. Also, the 40 here, the 440, they did push, they did not push, and you still see a high recommended value just because Aviator did push quite a lot. Um, but yeah, they fell too far behind here for the next wave. Yes, the Sovereign came out from Aviator, but it wasn't enough. Did not have enough front line to protect it. And yeah, so even though his send was smaller here, it was just too ballsy of a push here, considering they wanted to go for wave 15, and even on 15, I mean, on 15 could have been a very nice send. So I don't think I either needed to push that aggressively to make that happen. Yes, it's nice to be on par on workers, but he sacrificed too much value to make that happen, and that is how they managed to take a lead. I mean, the early game was just a battle of workers for between Tjuvis and Aviator, knowing who can push the hardest. Tjuvis won that one. He had a better composition to greet those workers and also be very safe on wave 10. Yes, he took a risk here on wave 9 to push 17 workers, but that allowed him to push 21 workers because he had all this composition well prepared for wave 10. And with Lone, he was able to stay close to value as well, despite his heavy push. And so the income sends here weren't very damaging to Tjuvis. Not trying to leak him whatsoever means that Tjuvis was able to push quite heavily here, knowing that he was quite okay with the gate. But if it was the Zoami and there was a resun, that could have been trouble for Tjuvis. But he looked at his value and said, I'm fine. And just went with it. And yeah, just a 14 undercut afterwards was just perfect from Julian and Tjuvis, realizing that they wanted a 15 race because they focused on the Sovereign weak wave. But 15 is not the only weak wave. You need to look at what all the other units are doing as well. So on that, I'm gonna say thank you for watching and see you next time.